All right, so let's take a minute to review how we can identify corresponding parts. Okay, so if you remember yesterday, we started to talk about what corresponding means. Okay, and so corresponding is just another way to really say matching. Okay, so corresponding parts are really just matching parts. And there's two types of things that we will be matching. We will either be matching angles together or we will be matching sides. Now, usually the easiest ones to identify first are the angles. So when we are looking for corresponding angles, okay, we want those angles to be equal to each other. All right, so we're looking for the angles that are equal in measurement. So when we look at this triangle ABC, and then we have this triangle over on the side, DEF, we want to identify the corresponding angles. So in other words, we want to look at which angles have the exact same measurement. So if I were to start with angle A, which has a measurement of 60, the corresponding part to angle A is going to be whichever angle in this second triangle has a measure of 60. So when I look at that, I see angle D has the exact same measurement. So we would say that angle A is congruent to angle D. Okay, so those are corresponding. So angle A and angle D. Well, next, if we look at angle B, which is 40 degrees, I'm trying to find the angle in my other triangle that has the same measurement. Well, the other one with 40 is angle F. So I would say that angle B is congruent to angle F. Right? So those are corresponding parts. So A and D are corresponding, B and F are corresponding because they have the same measurement. Now there's really only one left. When we look at C, it has a measurement of 80. E also has a measurement of 80, so they are corresponding. They're matching to each other. So angle C is corresponding to angle D. So A matches, with angle E. So A matches with D, B matches with F, and C matches with E because they have the exact same measurement. Now, the other way that we might see the angles listed is, let's say if we're looking at two triangles, A, B, C, and then we have this other triangle, we'll say it's B, K, H. Sometimes the numbers of the angles aren't actually written in the picture, but they'll give us some other marks. Okay, so one thing is you might see little arcs in different angles. And so just like in the previous example when we were matching up numbers to numbers, we can do the same thing here. We can match up the number of arcs in the angle. So for example, this angle here has one arc going through it. So in our second triangle, we would look for the angle that also only has one arc, which would be right here, angle H. So those two angles, even though we don't know their exact numbers, we know that they're the same because they have the same number of arcs in them. So angle A would be congruent to angle H. And so we could follow that pattern all the way through. So angle V has two arcs going through it, and so does angle B. So those two would match up. So angle V is congruent to angle B. And then lastly, angle C has three arcs going through it, and so does angle K. So that means that they are the exact same measurement. So A to H, V to B, and C to K. Now, the last thing that we might see, especially in terms of angles, is we might actually see what we call a similarity statement. So we might be told that triangle ABC is similar to triangle JMS. Right, so we know that these two triangles are similar to each other, but we're not given any information about what the angle measurements are. Well, what we can do is we can follow the order of the letters. So whatever letter comes first in the first triangle will match up with the letter that comes first in the second triangle. So angle A is going to match angle J because they're both listed first in the name. Angle B would match angle M because those come second in the name. And then the last letter is C and the last letter is S, which means those two angles would match up. So angle C and angle S. So we have three ways that we can really identify our corresponding angles. So the first way is to look at the numbers and see which number matches. Okay, the second way is to look for the arcs in the angle, and we can actually see which arc matches between the two triangles. And the third way is to look at the names. So the way the triangle is listed to us. So if it says A, B, C, and JMS, whichever letters come first, those will match. Whichever letters are in the middle, those will match. And whichever letters are last, those will match.